You.
So, how you been?
I've been good. I've been good. Feels like I've been gone for 700 years. I'm so glad to be back. How are you?
Yeah, I was trying to think about like the last time that I hung with you was probably Lala, maybe Lollapalooza.
Yeah, I want to say, was that 2022?
That sounds about
2020.
right.
Yeah, still a long
Feel
time.
doesn't like 2021 to 2025 all just blends together. Like
Yeah,
you
it's
could tell
not
me.
real. It's like a fake time. It's like time between Christmas and New Year's, those few days that just aren't real. That's what it feels like in like
But
every.
yeah, right. It's
Yeah.
it's so weird to me to think kids have started and finished high school in that time.
Oh my God, I never
I
even
know,
thought
sorry.
about
Sorry,
that. Oh
didn't mean
no.
to put it like that. Hey, listen, fire is a gift.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. It's so good. It's
Thank
like I'm really excited for it because it's one of those songs that it's catchy, it's simple, but it's not. It's you, and it's in a different direction, and it's kind of anthemy as well,
you.
in a certain way. Like I just hear people singing along to Fire. So congrats on that.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you like it. It's like it's definitely one of my favorite songs I've ever made. So I'm very
Yeah.
happy people like
Ever
it.
like you've ever made ever?
Honestly, yeah, one of, yeah, for sure.
What does it mean to you? What does Fire mean to you? Like what does that whole song say about like where you are in the world?
Um, I think it's just like about the feeling of like accepting true love in so many different ways and like jumping into something without fear or without self-sabotage, just like saying like I feel really great and you make me feel really great and I just feel like there's like color in the world again. I'm excited about this, which is not very common for me to write about. I don't really write that way and I don't feel that way a lot of the time. So it was nice to just write like a love letter.
Yeah, and love and hyperbole.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
good.
Thank you.
So good. This direction that you went in, I feel like it's Alessia, it's Alessia Cara, but also I feel like we're going someplace a little different instrumentally.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? And production wise?
For sure. Yeah, definitely. I feel like this is like the biggest jump that I've taken. I feel like every other album was like a little step in a different direction, and this one feels like a jump. And I just really didn't want to like settle. I wanted to like really keep going until I got it right and until it felt great. And I mean, all the instrumentation, like 95% of it is live instruments, which is
Wow.
super, like, it's something that I haven't really done before. So I just wanted to feel more mature and more like, I don't know, like more raw, I guess.
I get that sense. And I like that you said the way you felt. What do you want your fans and people that listen to the album? What do you picture them feeling? Like what are they taking away from this new piece of art that you've given us?
I guess there's a few things because I mean some of the songs are a little bit sadder, and so maybe that those songs will bring some sort of like self-reflection and maybe hopefully a sense of like comfort that they're not alone in some of those feelings. And the second half of the album is a lot more joyful, and so I hope they take like a lot of joy from it too, and just like a little bit of an escape or just moments to like dance and groove and feel happy as well. So there's like a few things, but I just hope they take anything from it, of course.
Dead Man, Love, right?
Thank you.
Drive, I listened to a couple times through. Drive made me wanna just like call my mom and go home. uh
Nice.
nighttime thing comes and I'm like, yo, that was the one I was like, okay, is this is like the song that you're talking about makes people want to get up and move around.
Yeah, for sure. Which is
So
again
fun.
like not something you think of when you think of an Alessia Cara song. I don't think people say, "Yeah, I want to get up and dance." Maybe with Stay, but all the other songs, I feel like people are just like say that I just make them cry or something or get really introspective. So that was really fun to like provide a little lightness for people, and yeah, it's nice. I'm glad people are like grooving with it because it's a super fun one.
So talking about doing the live instruments when you're making the album, this sounded like an album that needs to be heard live, which brings us to your tour. Coming to
Yeah.
Chicago. Hey, Auditorium Theater tickets are on sale today, I believe.
Mhm.
But April 18th is the night. Is that what you're picturing? Is that what you're envisioning? Is like strings and and horns and stuff like that? Or is it just going to be a stripped down Alessia Cara?
It's gonna be, my usual setup. Well, I'm gonna have an extra band member, so it'll be about four band members and I. I mean, as much as I would love to have a whole string section and horns, there's definitely a budget that has to be in place.
Fair.
And there's only one bus, so we gotta figure that out. But there are gonna be like my band is amazing. There's like so many great musicians in my band. They're all so good. They can play multiple instruments, and so I want it to be as live as possible. And all the things we have to add on track, we'll add. But I mean, how amazing would it be though to have like a 12-piece band or something?
Just call up like your favorite orchestra and have them rendezvous. It's easy. It's easy to do. We have
Sure.
one here in Chicago.
Local ones. Yeah,
Symphony.
I'll get
Yeah,
like local
have a
ones
symphony.
per city. I'll call
Yeah.
like each one and then just be like, hey, can I borrow you for like one night, please?
The logistics have to be simple, I feel.
Yes. Yes.
Um, so I feel like you've kind of grown up in the business. Would you say that? Is that a fair thing to say?
Um, I would say so, yes. I mean, maybe not as much as like, child stars, people who have been doing it since they were like born and little, but I mean, 18 to 28, I think there's definitely a lot of growing up. There's a lot of formative years there that I definitely went through, in this industry. So
Yeah.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah. What was the best advice that was ever given to you early on? Something that stuck with you about working in this industry?
Oh, I mean, I always say this and I always name drop my manager, Chris, which he doesn't like because he's like so private, but I'm gonna put him on blast. He told me in the beginning, like I think like knowing who you're not is just as important as knowing who you are. And sometimes the things that you say no to in your career are more important than the things that you like say yes to. And I think when you're young and starting out, you feel like you have to say yes to everything just to get out there without having a sense of identity and without learning how to say no, and like this is not what I want to do or this is not who I am. And I've taken that with me and I, have said no in ways to so many things that, might have seemed like at the time I was like sabotaging myself. But in reality, I was taking care of myself and protecting myself and forming an identity, um, and just like a sense of who I am. And I definitely knew who I was not, and that helped me a lot in my career. So I always take that with me.
Awesome, which is completely, totally relatable to your fan base and to people that listen to your music. Everybody goes through that, and not a lot of people talk about it or have, number one records about it. No big deal. So no big deal. So from here, from the song here till here we are now, right? What's like one of like the biggest changes you've seen in the music industry from your eyes?
Oh my gosh, it's so many things, so many things. I feel like every year that I come back with a new project, the industry is different. It's like the goalposts keep moving all the time. But certainly from when I first started, 10 years ago, like it's so crazy how like streaming has become such a thing and how the way that we release music has become such a thing. I feel like now as an artist, you're expected to wear so many hats. Like you have to be a social media content creator, you have to be an analyst, you have to be like all these things that you didn't have to be before, and wear all these different hats. So it can be kind of challenging, because it's not the thing that I was good at is making music, and now I find that I have to learn how to be good at all these things that I'm just not great at. So it's weird, but it's also fun, and I think it also has changed in a good way in a sense where I think a lot more artists are given a platform and given a chance, whereas before, like, if you didn't have a label, it was a lot harder. So I'm glad that like independent artists can now have a voice and just like put their music out there quickly without having to spend a ton of money. Like it's a lot easier now to just like get out there, which is nice.
Totally. Yeah. All right. Before I let you go, I appreciate the time. Alessia Cara, as always, we're gonna do quick five favorites just so your fans get to know a little bit inside the brain right here.
Okay.
Favorite comedian.
Ooh, already we're starting off great. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Ooh, oh my God, there's so many great comedians. I love Dave Chappelle. I love Nate Bargatze. He's so funny. He's
Hilarious.
he's like my favorite current one. I've been listening to him for a while.
Nate's great.
He's great. Yeah, so I
That's
would
a
say
pick.
Nate,
Okay.
Dave Chappelle. There's so many that I'm gonna think of. Theo Vaughn is not a comedian, but kind of he is. He is. He is a
Yeah, he
comedian.
makes you chuckle. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and he makes me laugh a lot. So
Yeah.
those
Favorite vacation spot.
favorite vacation spot. Ooh, I'm gonna have to say Italy just because my family lives there and I feel like I know it now enough to get around and I feel like a local there and it's just the best. I love
Where do they
Italy.
live?
They live in Calabria, which is like if Italy's shaped like a boot, they're
Yeah.
like the toe of the boot.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
what's like the bigger city near them in Italy?
Um, oh my gosh.
Probably Rome?
I get there's like some I mean I guess it depends what you consider big. I mean Rome is central, so probably that's the closest major city.
Yeah.
It's also very close to Sicily to like, because Sicily's like the island. So
Yeah.
Sicily's not really a city, but it's a region. So
Mhm.
Sicily as well.
I love all the pizza and all the food and all the wine from Italy. Bring me back.
Yeah.
Favorite live performance you've done so far? One
Ooh,
that sticks in your mind, like, holy crap, what just happened?
oh my gosh. There've been a few. I mean, honestly, speaking of Lollapalooza, when I last spoke to you, we did a show in Argentina for Lollapalooza in 2022. That was like the coolest. That was the most incredible show I've ever experienced just because of the audience and the way that they were reacting and giving us so much love. Like we all got so emotional. My band, everybody was crying because we just couldn't believe how incredible that was and how many people showed up for us. Because festivals, they're not there for you. So you just pray that someone will be there. And then, so many people were there and it was like the craziest experience ever. That was wild.
I can picture it. Favorite group text name that you're on, the thread.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
I have some that I'm not allowed to say because very inappropriate
Yeah, I was
names.
gonna
But
say I have a couple. I have a couple
yeah.
that are oh my gosh, I don't really have any that I can say. There's one, I mean, this isn't that great, but it's my family and my friends and I, we like to do like these like murder mystery games where they give you like a fake case and you have to solve it. And so our first one that we ever did was the killer ended up being this guy named Mark Toulouse. And so we have a group chat named Mark Toulouse
There you
because
go. I like
so
that.
yeah. So sometimes people are like,
Cute.
who's Mark Toulouse? I'm like, oh, it's my friend group chat.
The
But
fake murderer. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And last favorite decade slash era of music as a fan.
Ooh, I feel like there's so many, but probably 70s, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was groovy. There's some classic rock stuff going on there. A little bit
Yeah,
of
a lot of good folk
disco.
music. Yeah, disco, great folk music, great rock.
Yeah. Well, I hear a lot of decades in your new album. I really do, and it's such like a refreshing sound. So I'm very excited to see it live, and I know your fans are too. And congrats again, and fire's the jam. So keep up the great work, and appreciate you as always, the wonderful Alessia Cara.